there are things that are not out of Goose or out of Creek. And there are reasons why they can't call themselves that. There are things people are doing to make what they call Lambic that would not allow them to use that name, according to Haral's rules. And actually, I think Frank would be the best person to talk about it. He's always been very honest with me about what other people are doing and what he's doing. And that's why I say I respect Frank a lot for that. Because Frank makes stuff that's not out of Goose or out of Creek. Frank is trying to make a living and doing well to do both kinds of things. But we can talk about some of the things, maybe, if you want, about what other things go to make Lambic or Goose that maybe isn't the traditional style. And then that will also, I think, our point of tasting Frank's Boon Creek.
After all these nice eau de Goose, you will notice that this is the strange bird in the nest, because this is a sweet Creek. We make at Boon breweries 3 different Creeks. This one, Creek Boon, which is sweetened. It's made with cherries and lambic, but it is sweetened, and it is light. It's only 4% alcohol. We make Eau de Creek, which is the traditional at 6.5 alcohol, and we make a Creek Mariage Parfait at 8% alcohol. And we supply, I serve my clients and I supply them what they ask. Now, about tradition, you heard that there's differences between Lambic breweries, and there is a whole history about this. I will try to make it a little bit compact, but it's interesting to know that before World War I, that is now 100 years ago, about 1 million hectoliters of this beer was brewed in Belgium. So that is nearly 1/10 of the national production. It was spontaneous fermentation, but from these 1 million, only 80,000 was traditional Goose. The rest was sweet Faro, sweet Creek, dry Lambic, on different, but all sold on wooden casks, not in bottles. So later there was an evolution. In the 1910, lager beer came into Belgium, and a lot of breweries closed. Some breweries, very small ones, stayed traditional, and that means that they just made Goose Creek in bottles and Faro in wooden casks. But the problem with sweet Faro in wooden casks, if you make this beer and you supply it to customers, after a few days it starts fermenting, and then and in the summer you get all strange taste and off flavors. So some of these brewers switched on artificially sweetened Faro, and then even in the Depression, 1927 and so on, some brewers switched to artificially sweetened Goose. And then of course, yeah, strange thing happened. One brewery became very large. I can't say the name, it's Bellevue, very large, and bought a lot of small companies, and so most of the breweries closed. And when we go to 1977, when I bought the Witz brewery, 80% of his sales was sweet Lambic and sweet Creek Lambic, so flat on little wooden casks, and 20% was Goose. From time to time he had Goose. Very often he ran out, and he found it was normal because he ran out of bottles, or it was normal. So the tradition of Goose in bottles, of dry Goose in bottles, is a very old tradition. But there is also this strange tradition of sweet beers, and that goes back to a very long time. And even in 2 words, 1802, there was no candy sugar to sweeten, because it was invented at that moment by Payen in France. Before that time, Lambic brewers started their brewing season with 1 or 2 or 3 broods that they did boil for 24 hours. They boiled and boiled and boiled and boiled until it was a big syrup, and that was used to sweeten Faro. And their beers in wooden casks for direct consumption. But of course, sometimes these beers started to ferment, or these blends started to ferment, and they had extremely strong Lambic. And it was in Brussels, it was called bière assis sous. And sous means also drunk. It means money, but it means also drunk. So 6 times bière assis sous, 6 drunk beer. So It means that sweet beer has been always there, but that in quality for all people, and I think we all agree here, the old style pre-fermented in the bottle is far more superior to the young beer and light beer sweetened. But both have their place in the market, and we think if tomorrow all my customers are for Oude Creek, well, I will supply it, no problem.
Thank you again, Professor. As I say, Frank has done a lot of work looking at history and also looking at the science, and understandably doesn't want to tell everybody else what he's doing. But when you say sweetened, are you using sugar to sweeten, or are you using something else?
For these sweet beers, brewers who make sweet beers today, as you say, if you add sugar, it starts to ferment, and there was a problem with the wooden cask also. So if you add sugar, you have to filter these beers and put them in bottles sterile through flash pasteurization, or we don't have it, but other brewers have tunnel pasteurization. But this hurts the beer, of course, pasteurization. So there will be always inferior to the old style. But some beers, in our beers, framboise is nearly not sweetened, because you will taste it. You won't taste the sugar. It's standardized with some sugar, and that is just like in America is cane sugar. It's beet sugar in Europe. And for the Greek, which is only 4%, it is sugar and sweetener that is used. Because my predecessor did it like that, and we just went on doing it.
So it's a sweetener like, I don't want to say saccharin, but something...
Acesulfame is used.
Oh, so yeah, acesulfame, okay. That's a acesulfame K. Acesulfame K is it's a sort of modern variant of saccharin, which was used, I have to say, by everybody at this table. Well, as Jean is not guilty because he is, as he pointed out, younger than the rest of us. But his father used it. His father used saccharin, and everybody was using it. And the story I've heard from Jean-Pierre, Jean's father, is that well, they blamed the Americans, not surprisingly. After World War II, where we saved their butts, as well documented, the drink of choice for a lot of Europeans, even in Belgium, the notably cantankerous Belgians, liked Coca-Cola, they liked soda. And Jean-Pierre says it was always this taste for sweet things that came with the Americans, but obviously before then too, but it accelerated after the war. That kind of drove...
It was made simply to save the brewery.
Yeah.
Because people wanted sweet things. And
everybody was doing it. So, again, everybody's guilty if you want to say it.
But we had no more clients. We had no more clients, and we stopped after 4 or 5 years.
We have an opinion from Armand that may differ.
Nobody was killed. It was just normal stuff. So everybody used saccharin. Why not?
Bad choice of words.
That's why I'm not. It's a law. When it's common, the best thing will happen that we, like Jean, in the Fontaine, we stopped using saccharins because a lot of reasons. But the beautiful thing is that what's going on now is that we have less and less sweetened beers becoming popular, and that's thanks to in general, the beer lovers still nearly wants and knows how it has to be. That's in one way.
Especially the American one.
Oh, now they like the Americans.
But that's the truth. So that's in one way where we're so happy that what's going on, the movement, what's going on now in general, they're going for the real stuff. And thanks to that evolution, we have a future. As simple as that.